If you saw my video about a week ago, you'll know that I just received my copy of the RF 14-35 lens. I finally had a chance to take it out. So, what's it like? Let's find out, shall we? Okay, so what do I think of this? Canon's latest ultra-wide offering, the RF 14-35 f4L lens. Well, I think it's brilliant, but I expected it to be brilliant. It's nice and compact, it's very light, it's beautifully made. It's got a constant f4 aperture, which is nice. It accepts 77mm filters. I've got the freewell magnetic system on this already. It's just a brilliant lens. I've been using it walking around my favorite old tree here, the Grand Old Dame, taking photos with it, and it is really nice to have that 14mm focal length on a zoom lens, because typically my best photos of trees like this are with my, or were with my Samyang RF 14 prime lens. But now I've got 14mm on this, so I can walk around and recompose and take different types of compositions with the one lens, which is really, really nice. And it also simplifies my kit. So I've sold the RF Samyang 14mm, sold my 16-35 EF lens, and now I've just got this, the RF 70-200 f4L lens and the EF 100-400, which there's a good chance I will either update to the 100-500 RF or the 100-400 that's rumoured to be coming soon. Now, if you've got an EF 16-35, there's really, well, I won't say there's no reason to upgrade to this, because I had a 16-35 and I upgraded to this. But if you're after, better image quality and stuff like that, really the 16-35 is brilliant. There's a reason why it's an industry benchmark. But the reason I got rid of my 16-35 and got this was because I wanted those extra 2mm for the reasons that I just mentioned, and I wanted to be able to ditch the lens adapter. Now, the lens adapter that I had to keep switching between the 100-400 and the 16-35 each time I wanted to use them, and it was becoming a pain. So now I just have it permanently attached to the 100-400 EF lens, and I have three native RF mount lenses now, the 50 1.8, which is a great little lens. And if you haven't seen my recent video on just shooting with that, just have a look up here. I'll put a link up here. But the 50 RF 1.8, this, the RF 14-35 f4, and the 70-200 RF f4 as well. They're my native RF lenses, and I supplement those with the EF 100-400, which is one of my all-time favourite lenses, as you will know if you've watched this for a while. So it's a fantastic lens. I love this, I really do. And I think, aside from the typical R5, R6 video wobbles on the edges when you're shooting ultra-wide, that is a problem. No easy fix that I can find, other than shooting a bit longer, say 20 or 24mm. If you know of a fix, please let me know. But that's not a big deal for me, because if I'm shooting video with this, then chances are I'm locked off on a tripod. And I'm usually using the 50mm RF 1.8 anyway to shoot video with this, but it might be different for you. Maybe you want to be able to shoot handheld stuff. Maybe you want to even vlog with an R5 or an R6 with this lens on there. If you're shooting at 14mm, you're going to get those wobbles on the edges. So that's something to consider. But aside from that, I love this lens, and I think I'm going to have it for many, many years. And if you're on the fence about whether it's worth it or whether you should get the 15-35 2.8, let me tell you again, like I did with the 70-200, if you're shooting landscapes, if you're shooting stuff that doesn't require you to have action-stopping brightness in very low light conditions, this lens will do you just fine. In fact, this lens will serve you better than the 15-35, because you've got one extra mil of width, you're going to save some money, it'll be just as sharp, it'll be lighter and easier to carry, and you're not going to miss that extra stop. Unless, like I've said, you're shooting, say, concerts, weddings, in low light, moving subjects in low light conditions. If you're not doing those, this lens is definitely the lens for you. In fact, you could very comfortably get by in your kit with this, the RF 70-200 f4, and the 50 1.8 RF lens as your go-to low light, shallow depth of field lens. Those three, you got a perfect camera kit. If you want to go on the ultra long end, well then, I couldn't recommend the 100-400 EF highly enough. And I know that there are guys out there who rave about the 100-500 RF, but that's big dollars. So that's my opinion. If you're sitting on the fence, no need to sit on the fence. Get this lens, you won't regret it. It's brilliant. Now, before we finish up this video, I just want to highlight an issue that I discovered after I got my images back in post, and that is the vignetting of images shot at 14 and 15mm with this lens. Now, for me, it's not really a huge problem because I tend to crop my images. I also leave a fair bit of space around my images in case I want to crop. I often want to crop in it as a square image, or a 1x1 or a 4x3, occasionally a 16x9, but in all those cases, doing that crop usually eliminates vignetting anyway, but I was still kind of concerned that there was that much of it. There isn't, as of recording this video, an update in Lightroom to accommodate the 14 to 35 lens, so I use the 15 to 35 preset, and I just upped the distortion and vignette settings up to 200, and that got rid of most of it, not all of it. But like I said, for me, it's not a real issue, but I'm curious to know if you've bought this lens and if you've been using it, you know, what have you experienced? How have you dealt with it? And is it an issue for you? But really, aside from that, I love this lens. I love how compact it is. I love how beautifully made it is. And, you know, I'm really glad actually that I got this and not the 15 to 35, because the 15 to 35, you know, costs a hell of a lot more. It's quite a lot heavier. It's quite a lot bulkier. And I really love having such a broad focal range and such a compact lens, much like the RF 70-200. I love that lens too. So I'm very happy with my purchase. I've got no regrets, but I'm very keen to hear what your thoughts are if you've bought one or if you're planning to buy one. Anyway, that's it for me. I thank you for hanging out with me again. It's been nice to have your company. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed and you like videos about landscape photography, then I'd certainly welcome you as a subscriber. Until next week, thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye.